The day of the play came, and everyone was excited. As they stood on the stage, William could see the nervous faces of his friends. He whispered, "We've got this. Just remember, we are here to have fun and share our story." And when Mia started to speak her lines, she did it with so much confidence and joy that everyone in the audience clapped and cheered. After the play, as they took their bows, William looked at his friends and felt a warmth in his heart. He knew that English was not just a language they learned. It was the bridge that brought them all together. It was the key that unlocked their hearts, allowing them to connect in a way they never thought possible. When they all gathered after the play, Emma gave William a big hug. She said, "Look at what you have done, William. You have helped all of us find our voices. You taught us that learning is not just about getting things right, it's about being brave enough to try." William knew that his journey was far from over. There were still so many words to learn, so many stories to tell, and so many people to help. But he also knew that he would never be alone on this journey. He had his friends, his family, and a whole world of people who were learning just like him. As he walked home that evening, he looked up at the sky and thought about all the people out there who might be afraid to speak, afraid to learn. He wished he could tell each one of them, "Don't be scared. You are not alone. We are all learning together, one word at a time." And this is where I pause again, but the story isn't over. What about your story? Have you ever felt like William or Mia, afraid to speak or to make mistakes? I would love to hear your thoughts. Let's keep this story going. Let's share our dreams and struggles, and let's keep learning and growing, one word at a time. Tell me what part of the story touched your heart, and let's continue this journey together. As William continued his journey, he found that the most beautiful part of learning was sharing it with others. The English Club had become more than just a place to learn. It was a place where everyone felt safe, where they could laugh at their mistakes and celebrate their progress. It was where friendships were made, not just through words, but through understanding and kindness. One rainy afternoon, William saw a new face in the English Club. It was a girl named Amelia. She was sitting quietly at the back of the room, her eyes looking down at her notebook. William noticed that her hands were shaking a little, and he knew that feeling all too well. He walked up to her with a gentle smile and said, "Hi, I'm William. What's your name?" Amelia looked up, her eyes full of doubt, and said softly, "My name is Amelia. I don't think I'm good enough to be here. My English is really bad." William remembered the day he first met Emma and how he felt the same way. He said to Amelia, "You know, I used to feel just like you. I was scared and thought I would never be good at English. But then I learned that it's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn. Amelia's eyes softened a little, and she said, "Really? You were scared too?" William nodded and replied, "Yes, I was. But look at me now. I'm not perfect, but I'm not afraid anymore. And you don't have to be afraid either. We're all here to help each other." Amelia started coming to the club regularly. Little by little, she began to speak more, to share her thoughts, and even to laugh at her own mistakes. She became friends with Mia and Daniel, and together they helped each other with new words and sentences. William watched as Amelia's confidence grew, and he felt proud, knowing that he had helped someone else find their voice. One day, the English club decided to do something special. They wanted to write letters to kids in another country who were also learning English. The idea excited everyone, and they all sat down to write letters about their lives, their dreams, and the things they loved. William wrote in his letter, "Hello, my name is William. I used to be afraid to speak in English, but now I'm not. I have friends who help me, and I want to help you too. Remember, you are never alone in this journey." When the letters were sent, William and his friends waited eagerly for the replies. A few weeks later, they received letters back from kids in a faraway place. One letter was from a boy named Arthur who wrote, "Thank you, William, for your kind words. I was scared too, but now I feel like I have a friend who understands me. Let's keep learning together." William realized that his words had traveled across the world, touching the heart of someone he had never met. He knew then that English was not just about speaking, it was about connecting. It was about breaking down the walls between people, no matter where they lived or what language they spoke. One night, William sat at his desk, thinking about everything that had happened. He thought of all the people who had helped him, Emma with her smile, his dad's encouragement, his mom's patience, Mrs. Charlotte's kind words, and his friends in the English club. He knew that he could not have done it alone. Every person had added a piece to his story. As he looked out the window at the stars, he thought of something his dad, Robert, once said. When you help someone learn, you don't just teach them words, you give them wings to fly. William felt that his wings were getting stronger every day. He wasn't flying alone, he was lifting others with him. The next day at the English club, William stood up in front of everyone. He said, "I want all of you to know something. You are all amazing. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes or if you are afraid sometimes. What matters is that you try. What matters is that you never give up." The room was quiet for a moment, and then everyone started clapping. Amelia had tears in her eyes, and she said, "Thank you, William, for believing in us, even when we didn't believe in ourselves." William's heart was full of emotion. He knew that this was the best part of his journey, seeing the smiles, the courage, and the hope in his friend's eyes. William's journey was far from over, but he was not afraid anymore. He knew that every day was a chance to learn something new, to make a new friend, and to help someone else find their voice. He knew that English was more than just words, it was a bridge that connected people, hearts, and dreams. As William walked home that evening, he thought about all the people out there who might still be afraid to speak, who might think they are not good enough. He wished he could tell each one of them, "You are not alone. We are all in this together, one word at a time." And so, the story goes on. What about your story? Do you have a dream you are afraid to speak about? Are there words you wish you could say but don't know how? Share your thoughts with me. Let's keep this journey alive. Let's learn from each other, and let's continue to grow together. The story doesn't end here, it is only just beginning. Tell me what you think, and let's write the next chapter of our journey together. As William continued his journey, he found new ways to make learning English even more fun and creative. He started bringing small objects to the English club, like toys, pictures, and colorful cards, to help his friends understand new words. They played games with these objects, turning each lesson into an adventure. Laughter filled the room as they learned, and no one was afraid of making mistakes anymore. One day, a new boy named John joined the English club. John was quiet and kept his head down, not saying much. William could see the worry in his eyes. He knew that look, it was the same one he used to have when he first started learning English. William went over to John and said, "Hi, I'm William. It's okay if you don't know all the words yet. We're here to help each other." John looked up and gave a small smile, saying, "I'm just scared that everyone will laugh at me." William shook his head and said, "We've all felt that way, John. But here, no one will laugh at you. We're all learning together. And the best part is, when you make a mistake, it just means you're getting closer to getting it right." With William's encouragement, John started to open up little by little. He began speaking small words and sentences. His voice was shaky at first, but as days went by, he grew more confident. The other members of the club cheered him on, just like they had done for William. John started to believe in himself, and his smile got bigger every day. William's heart felt so full when he saw John's progress. He realized that helping someone else learn gave him more joy than anything else. It was like planting a small seed and watching it grow into a beautiful tree. He knew that every kind word, every bit of patience, and every smile was like water and sunlight for that little seed. One day, during their English club meeting, they decided to write a poem together. Everyone contributed a line or two, and they laughed as they tried to make the words rhyme. The poem was about their journey in learning English, about their hopes and dreams, and about the friendship they found in each other. William wrote the last line, "We are stronger together, one word at a time." They decided to read their poem in front of the school during the morning assembly. Everyone was nervous, especially Mia, who had to read the first line. She turned to William and whispered, "What if I mess up?" William smiled and whispered back, "Even if you do, it's okay. We're all here to catch you." Mia nodded, took a deep breath, and started to read. As Mia's voice filled the room, William looked around at his friends. He saw Amelia, Daniel, John, and even shy George all standing with him. Each of them had their own story of struggle, their own fear to overcome, but they were standing together, united by their journey. When it was William's turn to read, he felt so much pride and joy that he almost forgot his nervousness. He spoke his lines with all his heart, knowing that they were speaking not just for themselves but for everyone who had ever been afraid to speak up. When they finished the poem, the entire school cheered. Mrs. Charlotte, their teacher, had tears in her eyes as she clapped the loudest. She said, "You all have shown us that learning is not just about books and tests, it's about courage, friendship, and never giving up." The applause was like music to their ears, and William felt like he was flying. After the assembly, Amelia said to William, "I never thought I could stand in front of so many people and speak in English." "Thank you, William, for showing us that we are braver than we think." William smiled and said, "You were always brave, Amelia. You just needed a little reminder." Later that evening, as William sat by his window, looking up at the stars, he thought about all the people he had met on his journey. He remembered how he used to be the one who was afraid, the one who felt small and unsure. But now he was the one helping others, lifting them up when they felt down. He knew that his journey was still going, and there were still so many people out there who needed a friend to believe in them. William remembered something his dad, Robert, once said, "When you share your light with others, you make the whole world a little brighter." William realized that learning English was not just a lesson in school, it was a lesson in life. It taught him how to be kind, how to listen, how to be patient, and how to never give up. One day, William saw a girl named Sophia sitting alone in the schoolyard. She looked lost in her own thoughts, with a tear rolling down her cheek. William walked over and asked softly, "Sophia, are you okay?" Sophia wiped her tear and said, "I'm not good at anything, William. I can't even speak English right." William sat next to her and said, "You know, Sophia, I used to think the same way. I used to think I wasn't good enough. But then I learned that it's not about being perfect. It's about trying even when it's hard. It's about believing in yourself, even when it's the hardest thing to do." Sophia looked at him with hopeful eyes and asked, "Do you think I can do it?" William nodded and said, "I know you can. And I'll be here to help you." every step of the way. As the days went by, Sophia started coming to the English club. She learned to laugh at her mistakes, to celebrate her small victories, and to believe in herself. She became part of their family, and William saw how her smile grew brighter every day. He knew that this was what he was meant to do, to help others find their light, to help them believe in themselves. And as the sun set that evening, William knew that his story was far from over. There were still so many people to help, so many words to learn, and so many hearts to touch. He knew that he was not alone on this journey. He had his friends, his family, and a whole world of people who were learning and growing with him. This story is still going, just like life itself. What about you? Have you ever felt like giving up, like you weren't good enough? Or have you found someone who helped you believe in yourself? I want to hear your story. Let's keep this journey going. Let's learn from each other. And let's keep sharing our light with the world. This is not the end, it's just another chapter. Tell me what's on your heart, and let's write the next part of our story together.